Welcome back to the second episode of Wristwatchism for 2020. Today we're doing a duel between the Rado Captain Cook and the established Oris 65 diver. They're both very important pieces in the very strong vintage inspired divers market of today. They've both got blue dials, the dial color of the day. You might find a favorite or you might want to buy them both. So here we are with the vintage diver duel. On the left side we have the Rado Captain Cook, and on the right we have the established player, the Oris 65 diver. I'm going to do a quick review of the Captain Cook and the Oris and then do a comparison of the two watches. So ladies and gentlemen, let's do the first unboxing of the day. This is the established player, the Oris 65 diver. Let's unbox it. Nice fabric covered cardboard box here and a lot of extra paper. See what we got. We have a lovely Oris in a box. Oris, which is a fiercely independent Swiss brand. Nice logo here. Quite simple cardboard box. Inside is a version of the Oris 65 diver. This is the 40mm version with a bracelet. So let's have a closer look. So let's start with a quick look at the Oris 65 diver. It's been with us for a few years now and it's evolved into a complete range with Oris. The Diver 65 has got no less than 50 references now at Oris, and it's a well-loved watch and a very versatile one. It's got 40mm and 42mm. This is the 40mm version. And so let's start with the dial. This has got a dark blue dial, which is, it seems, black in low lights and plays really well with the sunlight. The indices and hands are filled with Superluminova, the old radium style, which some people love and some don't like that much, but you know, it's perfect with that vintage vibe of the watch. The case is nice and slender. It's got a 20mm lug width. It's got a brushed top and it's got polished sides. So you can see it's quite slim. It's got that vintage perfect box shaped sapphire crystal. It's got a aluminium bezel. Bezel action is nice and smooth. There's a little bit of play, but nothing very noticeable. The alignment is good. It's got lume pip at 12 o'clock. It's got a screw-in crown with the Oris logo. We'll have a look at it on the wrist later. Quite slim, nice downwards facing lugs. I have a feeling we're quite comfortable. This is the back. Hasn't got a display case back. It's got a nice screw-on back with the Oris logo. It's got a 100-meter water resistance and lovely dark blue dial. I can imagine it will look really nice in the sunlight. The bracelet is a vintage style 4 rivet bracelet, which as far as I know was started by the latest version of the Tudor Black Bay. Some people love them, some people don't. I think they look quite nice and in keeping with the period. This tapers dramatically from the 20mm lugs down to the clasp, which is also in keeping with the period. It's a very light watch. I'll put up the weight of it with the specs later. It's got a very useful 5-point micro adjustment on the clasp. It's got a proper diver's clasp, solid stainless steel, with a very nice click to it and no play. The bracelet is nice and sharp, just tiny bit of flex, not much. And yeah, let's have a look at the specs and then try it on the wrist. gloves off and on the wrist with the Oris 65. First impressions, I must say that I love divers. I love vintage divers. This is, it's very slender and it's a very light watch. Very versatile. It would work just as well as a dressy watch under a nice shirt with a suit jacket as with a sporty, more casual look with the t-shirt. Holding it now, because I haven't done the sizing of the bracelet yet. The bracelet is very comfortable, especially with the fact that it tapers quite dramatically to the back by the clasp. As you can see here, the profile is slim. The height of the watch is mainly made up by the box-shaped crystal, which is perfect for the vintage look and makes some brilliant reflections with the light. So a very, very comfortable watch on the wrist. So, 2 unboxings in 10 minutes. This is almost too much for me. Let's have a look at the Rado Captain Cook. This is the more of a newcomer on the vintage-inspired divers market. The Oris 65 has been with us for a couple of years. This is it, in a box. And in here is the, I must say the box here is nicer than the Oris one. The Oris one is quite a normal cardboard box. This is a bit nicer. They're both Swiss. This is the Rado Captain Cook. For the comparison, this is also a blue dial watch with a blue bezel, and this has got a leather strap. Let's have a closer look at it. Now let's have a closer look at the Rado Captain Cook. This is a retro-inspired divers watch by Rado, which many of us doesn't associate with the divers. I mean, Rado. The first thing that springs to mind are the ceramic, shiny ceramic super watches that they made since the 80s, which is sort of their trademark. And this is inspired by a divers watch that Rado made between 1962 and 68, when everyone came out with divers watches, because that was the thing to do. And obviously now it's a big part of the market, and Rado came up with this lovely design. They came out with it first a couple of years ago in a 37mm limited edition. This is the improved version, which is 42mm, automatic, and this obviously Rado is part of the Swatch group, so it's got an ETA-based caliber, caliber C07611, based on the ETA 2824. It's got a fantastic power reserve of 80 hours, which is more than twice as much as the Oris. It's got a nice date at 3 o'clock. It's got a blue sunburst dial. So let's start with that. Blue sunburst dial. It's got deep filled indices with superluminova, and it's got a concave bezel. The bezel on the Rado is ceramic, a super tough ceramic, and let's check the bezel action. It's very nice and positive on the Rado. Many of us might play with the bezel at our desk and you know, not actually use it for diving, but this works. It's very precise. It's got super alignment, screw-in crown with the Rado logo. It's got the brilliant Rado red circular logo with the anchor that actually moves. The case is 42mm, but it will wear smaller, I suspect, because the dial is quite small with the minute track and the quite broad bezel. Polished all around, some really nice detailing with the lugs being flat underneath but properly downturned, which, you know, makes for good ergonomics. Nice edge on the bezel here, 20mm lugs, and it comes on a beads of rice bracelet, and it also comes on a leather strap, which lends it more of a sporty air compared to the Oris. Let's have a look at the back. It's got the splendid looking Rado are back with the 3 seahorses, which is part of their identity. And this is got a 200-meter water resistance, and obviously Swiss made, like the Oris. It's got a nice deployant buckle, which is easy to adjust. Nice solid action there. So let's have a look at the specs and then see what it feels like on the wrist. Gloves off and on the wrist with the Rado Captain Cook. The 42mm watch does not wear like a 42mm watch would. It wears smaller, partly because of the dial being quite small compared to the outer minute track and the bezel. Case design is very ergonomic. The lugs, as you can see, are downwards turning. The leather strap is nice and soft. It's got a very comfortable deployant buckle here on the back. Easy to adjust. Gives it more of a sporty vibe compared to the Oris. That's rather nice. So the premise of this review was a head-to-head duel between these two, and I'm actually coming off thinking more along the lines of these two complementing each other. The Oris 65 has got a lot to love for everyone because it's a complete range, and you've actually got 50 references to choose from, and that's, you can find any dial color you like. You can find steel and bronze. You can find the different straps, bracelets, 2 different sizes of 40, 42. So big benefit there. 40mm. This has got a very slender case, whereas for me it's a more dressier proposition. It works with a casual outfit. It works perfectly with the suit. The Rado is sportier, especially here shown on the leather strap. It's got a fantastic blue sunburst dial. It's a chunkier watch with the 42mm, still wears smaller, and it's very comfortable for its size. And you know, newcomer, but the movement is an ETA-based movement, so it's got a big benefit there with its 80-hour power reserve being more than twice as much as the Oris. If I have to choose, I feel that, you know, you got more to choose from in the Oris because it's a broad range, but ideally I would have the Oris as a more dressy watch. You know, who wears a dress watch anymore? You can wear this with a suit or with a t-shirt, and I'd keep the Rado for the more sporty occasions. And it's lovely on a leather strap, even though it's a bit of a faux pas on a diver's watch. But let's face it, how many of us are actually going to use any of these watches for diving?